mean, that phrase, I'm delighted to say, is part of the English culture.
Oh,
it's
definitely.
interwoven. If you go to anyone else, I'm getting the word, they will know what it is.
So tonight on Fix Radio, we've got an incredible comedy guest lined up. You'll know him as the man behind Clinton Baptiste. You might know him as Barry from Watford, who's been winding people up on Radio Like Me for years. But tonight it's the real bloke, not the characters, actor and comedian Alex Lowe. Welcome to the show, mate.
Thank you. Lovely to be here.
Welcome. So for our listeners out there who might not know Alex Lowe, you are Clinton Baptiste. You are Barry from Watford.
I'm Clinton Baptiste, the terrible psychic from Phoenix Nights, Channel 4, which is now 25 years ago. So he has the famous phrase, I probably won't even say it on here.
I know the phrase.
I'm getting the word. So, I mean, I'm often asked in the street to say that about people. I do it on Cameo and Memo. 9 times out of 10, that's the request. Well, mate, can you call my mate this word? So thank God for that. It's the most horrible catchphrase ever. But thank God I've got a catchphrase. Thank you, Peter Kay, you know.
Just touch on Clinton Baptiste. Now, my late granddad's from Rochdale, so we used to watch Phoenix Nights, and this was the first time, for better words, I came across Clinton Baptiste. Now, you were in Phoenix Nights. What was the story about Clinton being in that show? Was this a character that was already made? Did you go to Peter, or was this supposed to be a one-off?
No, it was always supposed to be a one-off. I tell you what it was. I did a show at the Edinburgh Festival in 1998 about British wrestling, where you're too young to remember these people, but there was Giant Haystacks, Big Daddy, Jackie Pallow, Dropkick Johnny Peters, and I played all these guys. And Peter Kay came to review it for Edinburgh Nights for BBC Two with Bomber Pat Roach, who a lot of your blokes will know because he was in Alfie the Same Pet.
Yeah.
And he used to be a wrestler. And so Peter came along and we sort of hit it off and, you know, hung around the Edinburgh Festival for the week or however long I was there, quite a lot longer. And then he asked me to be in That Peter Kay Thing, which was a forerunner to Phoenix Night, where I played a character called Sparky in an episode about a bingo hall called Eyes Down. And then he phoned me up and said, have I got a part for you? And it was Clinton Baptiste, this terrible psychic who's very unsubtle, very undiplomatic, gets all this stuff from the spirit world and says it as it is without any care for anyone's feelings. So it was entirely Peter's invention and Neil Fitzmaurice and Dave Spikey's invention. And I think it's obviously based on Derek Acora. With the hair.
Hello, Sam. Hello.
Hello, Sam. Yeah. Mary loves Dick. Mary loves Dick. So I played this character, and then I think at the time I asked Peter, could I do it go on the cabaret circuit with it? And he was not mad about me doing that. And then some years ago, rather long answer to this simple question, we did Phoenix Nights Live in 2015 at Manchester Arena for Comic Relief. Mm-hmm. I asked Peter again, expecting him to say, you're not doing it. And he said, yeah, if you like. And he gave me the wig and the costume. And since 2015, I've been doing it, and I with Peter's blessing, and I really thank Peter for that. He didn't have to say yes, and so it's his. But so I'm always very careful to ask Peter, if it's okay to do stuff. But I'm about to do my 5th UK tour, so thankfully, Peter.
Does he take the wig back every time you finish a tour? Like, can I have my wig back for next week? Or
no,
do you keep that?
It's like Trigger's broom. It's had so many bits added and taken away. It's not really the same wig now. I'm useless with putting the wig on. I put a little bit of toupee tape on, which always rips hair out. Yeah. So it always needs tarting up.
Wig should have some wood glue around here somewhere.
Yeah, it's very expensive. Doing wigs, it's very, very expensive.
But this is the thing, right? So when Phoenix Nights came around, there was no such thing as, your Instagrams and your TikToks or meme culture. Yeah. Now, all of a sudden, over the last couple of years, the phrase you're talking about has just blown up. So how do you kind of deal with this new fan base? Because I would like to say I'm an original Clinton Baptiste fan. I saw you in Phoenix Nights. I followed you from when you started doing your tours. But you've got this new wave of fans. Yeah. Are they different to the Phoenix Nights fans, or?
I really like to think that people who come to see my shows, quite a broad cross-section. There's young people who kind of get the fact he's a terrible psychic. There's the people who are just, my age and older, who get the old end of the pier. old-fashioned, old England that, we used to know. I mean, my dad used to play in bands in working men's clubs. And I saw it, growing up. It's all kind of going after the bingo and there's a meat raffle and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I get all sorts, real cross-section of people who come to see it, thank God. So, yeah, I mean, it is amazing, that particular phrase that is everywhere. I have to say, it is the most disgusting.
Oh, it's brilliant.
If you call anyone that name, it is the worst insult. It is the worst insult.
But you said it in such a way that it's just, when you can say it in any sense, any time of day, to any person,
yes,
and it would never not be funny. It's always
it's funny
so
because
good.
It's got so much punch to it.
It's just brilliant.
But that phrase, I'm delighted to say, is part of the English culture.
Oh,
it's
definitely
interwoven. If you go to anyone else, I'm getting the word, they will know what it is. So I'm completely delighted about that. But I just think, I don't know, in terms of, because, like, for example, I do the memos or the cameos, and people, you want me to say happy birthday and call their mate this name.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that person is taking it as a joke.
Yeah.
It could be, anyone could be asking for it. I don't really want to be accusing people of that particular crime. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing is with Clinton as a character, from my perspective, is that there's a lot of the population that would see Clinton as a legitimate person, like not a character.
Yeah.
Have you ever been stopped? I don't know, maybe at the shops, you maybe walk past a building site, anything like, oi, you're that psychic.
Yeah.
Do people think Clinton's real? And have they asked for like an impromptu reading?
Well, I mean, first of all, people don't always recognise me without the wig and the glitter and the earrings and all that stuff. But I do occasionally, I'm a season ticket holder at Wolverhampton Wanderers. Inexplicably, my son...
Oh, bless you.
It's been a terrible season. But my son, I took a picture of QPR, which was my team, versus Wolves on the fridge, and he went for the wrong ones. Now I'm a season ticket holder. He was about 7 at the time. Now I'm a season ticket holder at Molineux. But it's quite often at football matches, people seem to know me and come up and they want a selfie and all that. And to be honest, I'm completely delighted by that. But, people don't, as a rule, recognise me because I'm not wearing all the gear.
You must get the look, though. When someone looks at you like, I know you from somewhere.
Yeah, I get a bit of that. But then again, I have tapped up in everyone's TV show.
Yeah.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Well, this is the thing I'm going to say. Like, Clinton Baptiste is one thing, Barry from Watford is another thing. You've done so much. Now, to get into these characters, like, how did you end up doing what you're doing? Like, was this always the plan? Did you want to get into comedy? Did you want to get into characters or voices? What kind of got you to where you are today?
I think, I was just probably a massive show-off when I was a kid.
Nice.
I was always being told to stop showing off, which is the most damning thing.
Yeah.
It's the most shaming thing your parents can say, stop showing off now. It's so undermining.
Yeah.
So I think I just liked showing off. My brother and I became second in the 1979 Wolves Cornetto Junior Talent Contest.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah. And we were doing our impressions, and our jokes came from the Two Ronnies joke book. And so I just, that sort of cabaret thing was always my thing.
Yeah.
And then I did some professional work as a boy. I was in another country, was just playing the West End, became the film with Rupert Everett in the early 80s. And I did the Adrian Mole cassettes, which they used to play out on Radio 1 and what have you. I did lots of things like that. And then I did my degree in drama, which was terrible, absolutely worthless. I mean, no, in the days before you paid for it. So we had no facilities. It was terrible. And then I joined Kenneth Branagh again, who I'd met through through Renaissance Theatre Company.
Yeah.
And I became his stand-in. I did lots of films and that sort of thing. But the comedy thing, I guess, was always in my blood. I know I sound like a posh bloke from Pinner, but all my family are from Southeast London.
Yeah.
Well, I say Southeast, I've been told off this before. Bermondsey, Deptford. It's not quite the real reaches of Southeast London. But so they all, those all Cockney geezers and all that, and they all sorts a bit like Barry from Watford, you see. And so they was all into, comedy was a big thing. They was always playing in the pubs on the Joanna and all that. So I came from a tradition where that was regarded as something quite important. And I know that sounds ridiculous now, but sort of performing and entertaining and all that, much more than going and doing classical acting, sort of doing cabaret. And, my dad took us to see Mike Yarwood, who's a brilliant impressionist for you young people out there, when I was about 10. And we went to see Michael Crawford in Billy Liar in the West End. So, these kind of comedy actors, it was seen as a big thing, So that's really sort of my interest in it.
And you did Barry from Watford, the impression just said. A lot of people listening to the radio will be like, that's him. That's right. Bill Barry, so it's amazing to like Barry from Watford's kind of been shaped from that personal life. Now, Barry from Watford is very special to me and to a lot of people in the radio industry because of this one phone in from Barry from Watford that whether you're new getting into radio or if you've been in it for 20, 30 years, Minty Biscuit will still be one, I think top 3, right? Producer Lim, top 3 call-ins of all time. Now, I listen back to it, or when I've listened to it, I'm thinking, this geezer's real. Like, what happened with Minty Biscuit? And the reason why it done so well, because it's hilariously funny, and we all know someone like Barry from Watford. Yeah. But what was the process of getting onto Ian's show?
Well, I used to phone Ian on LBC a lot as Barry. And then he stopped working at LBC. I used to phone him on Talk Radio, and he ended up working at BBC West Midlands. He was filling in for someone. Yeah. And honestly, I don't think that's the funniest thing we've ever done. Yeah, we've done much funnier stuff. But I was going to watch my lad playing football I was training on a Saturday morning, and Ian was filling in this show. I thought, I must get onto his radio show and just as a mate, just to make him laugh, and it's me phoning him there. And I was literally, I know what I was doing at the time. I was walking away from the pitch from the other dads doing this phone call. I didn't really have a chance to think about it. And I just thought it was really funny to get sidetracked with a certain type of biscuit and give the detail about the biscuit. I always feel really sorry for the woman who's on the other line.
So she was a genuine caller?
Oh, she's a genuine caller.
Oh, my word.
And I always say that in the arena of guerrilla comedy like that, there will be some collateral damage. And that poor woman doing all that.
It's about blue badges, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's about a blue badge. And it's about, if you have a blue badge, you're not allowed to exploit it and give it to people and park in a space that you're not entitled to. Yeah. But Barry gets so attracted about it's a certain type of biscuit that, you can't get, and it's a minty affair or whatever.
It's so good. It was so good. And there was one point we said, oh, well, if I get out of the car, my spine's going to split. And then you're talking about like a knockoff Viscount, let's be honest.
But that's why I feel so sorry for her, because she was, and Ian is such a brilliant improviser. Yeah. He does that thing where he says, let's be honest, Barry, her spine is going to split. It's
so good. It's just like, and for you to kind of tell me now that she was a genuine caller, it just makes it so much better. But Barry from Watford as a character, you said it's inspired by some of that family. You would call from South East London. For me, I'm the same thing. Like my nan's side, she knows a Barry from Watford. Why? Why Barry from Watford? Because everyone can kind of relate to Barry from Watford, but why make that character? Because you do the whole prosthetics. Yeah. Tell me the inspiration behind it.
The truth is, I'd like to make out it was just an organic thing where I stumbled across this thing and I thought, oh, that'd be a good character. I was absolutely looking for a comedy character to do. Really? Yeah, and I thought, any performer will tell you it's quite hard to sustain a living at it. And I wanted to do comedy. I've always thought playing a character is much more my thing than straight stand-up. And I just found I could do this quite authentic, if you relax the back of your throat and it sort of droops like someone who's 80 years old and you run her lung capacity is there, it sort of sounds quite accurate. And the accuracy of my, I'm sure there's loads of Cockney geezers out there now going to say it's not, but the accuracy of my, London, old school London, that where my lot came from, is quite accurate. So I think with anything, God, this sounds pretentious, but I think if you're doing any sort of comedy character, if it's kind of rooted in something that feels quite real, then it's believable. If you're just going out there and it's just kind of mad nonsense, you go, I don't understand that.
Do you ever feel like you're accidentally going into one of these characters? Like for me, this is a trade station. I did apprenticeships when I was younger. I never really got into the trade, but when I get into a white van, I'm I've got my shoulders relaxed. I'm talking a bit like this. Do you ever feel like you are?
I feel like that now.
Do you?
Normally I come in here with a sort of top hat and tails. No, it's really interesting you say that because my director of my Clinton Baptiste show lives in Bermondsey.
Yeah.
And he lives just near the Peak Freehands factory where my nan used to work.
Yeah.
And I live in, northwest London now. It's all quite middle class and posh. But when I went to see him recently, his next door neighbour is a bloke called Denny. And he said, he introduced me to him. I'm like, all right, go on, geez. I'll be on my old girl around here, all my family living. All right, apples and pears, dude. Jelly deals, all my old man, and all that. And Brendan, my director, was like, who's this? Who is this talking? And I didn't notice what I was doing. It was, all right, yeah, how's it going, mate? How's it going? All right. And so it's not really me, but it's funny how you kind of
it's like Green Goblin, the mask talks to you. Like, does the wig talk to you? Does the prosthetics talk to you?
Yeah.
It's brilliant. It really is.
But I mean, I don't know. I've been accused before of not having any personality myself, and I'm just a vessel for putting characters in.
Well, talking to characters, have you ever considered... Do you always demo new characters? Have you got a list of characters you want to do? Like, there's not many... trade is there, produce them. There's not really tradie characters that are just maybe from the old, Harry Enfield days. There's not much.
Maybe that's a good idea.
I think there could be a gap in the market.
I mean, I could base it on my mate Mickey, who's a scaffolder in Watford. Hello, Mickey. Who
and here he is. I'm joking.
I could do a version of him.
Go on.
He won't be in here. He'll be up on a roof ripping someone off.
So
sorry.
What's Mickey like then for you to kind of want to take him on?
Well, he's a bit of geezer. He's a what? He's voting Labour. Is he voting Labour? Sort of your lot. All that okay now. Quite political.
Yeah.
Quite political. And I'm not particularly political. I don't know who he thinks I am. But he said, well, we all are and all this. And he's all sort of, he's a decent bloke.
Yeah.
Mickey is a decent bloke. He's done my roof a few times.
A few times?
What happened was I know for a fact, yeah, that's right. He's back every few months.
Yeah. I've got patches.
Yeah, can we go up there and have another look, Mickey? I don't know what you did last time. No, but he, for example, he's a lovely guy. He won't mind me saying he had a hair transplant.
Lovely. Did he go to Turkey?
Possibly. Torquay is more accurate the way that thing's gone. But he said to me, the only problem is the old, you got to take the old female, the estrogen you got to take, you see. So problem is my moobs have grown a bit. You notice any difference? I said, that's how it works. You're so busy looking at your moobs, you don't notice your hair. So I could do a version of Mickey.
That'd be good.
That's a really good idea. And I wonder if
you got to talk to us at Fix. Would be very interested.
Why don't we
talk to me?
I just call him Ricky.
And he's not a roofer.
No, he's something else. But I could have the old tool belt and all that, and do a lot of sucking
through the teeth. Handyman Ricky.
Which tell you what, that's going to come. That's all got to come down. That's all got to come down.
This is brilliant. This is absolutely brilliant.
Bloody good idea.
Which we got onto it. But you mentioned that you've done all of the schooling or the education route into acting.
Yeah.
Was that tough? It's an industry like, okay, maybe nowadays it's easier to get into, more celebrated, it's more inclusive. But I'm not going to say a long time ago. But for when you was doing it, did you get a bit of a kickback from anyone saying you're getting into the arts? Because essentially, it's there's so many different routes, like, the trade route. Has that never ever appealed to you?
Well, I tell you what, I know no one believes me, but I come from what I would call a lower middle class family.
Right.
My dad, my granddad was a shopkeeper in Soho, not that kind of shop. It was a hardware shop.
Right, okay,
it was a hardware shop directly opposite the Soho Theatre. And so, there was a connection there with, what you guys do. He hated it, I have to say. He was kind of pretty depressed. It was in the 50s. There was a lot of kind of protection money going around.
Yeah.
I don't know whether the craze came to him, but certainly people came and wanted money and all that. He was rather depressed. He also had 3 daughters, and he saw the way Soho was going, and he just thought, this is pretty grim. My mum worked for Harrow Social Services. So I will say, and now at 57, it's taken me this long. I've always had my head looking back over my shoulder thinking, any minute now, I'm going to have to stop this stupid acting nonsense and knuckle down and get a job. I've always thought that. And it's really great to arrive at 57 and go, nobody is going to employ you to do anything else. It's taken out my hands now. But for many, many years, it would only take my mum to phone up at like 2:45 on a Tuesday afternoon and go, what are you doing? And I'd be like, yeah, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? I'm preparing for an audition or not, or sitting around moaning about my agent. So I think it is quite, as you say, it's a difficult thing to get into. And I did have a bit of kickback from, my nan that, was from Bermondsey, worked at South Harrow fish stall for like 50 years, real hard graft. And, so this kind of Ponzi actor thing is not really in my family's sphere. As I said to you, they like all the old roll out the barrow in the pub. They like to sort of stand up. They like comedy, but getting on stage at the National Theatre is not their idea of a living.
But did they ever see you at a theatre? And when they did, what was that reaction to you? Obviously, because it's hard graft. From the theatre and the arts is hard. You've got so much competition. You have to stand out. You have to be good. So for them to see you doing this on stage or in person, what was their reaction?
Well, they were very proud. And in those days, when I was a child actor, you had to have a chaperone. So they'd have to come and be in the dressing room with you anyway. So they saw a lot of it. And bless them, they would take me up and down to London and all that. But I think they just thought it was going to wear off. It's like a hobby. But and once again, this sounds pretentious, but it's an absolute vocation in life. If you are going to give stuff up to do this for a living, and also, let's be fair, at my school, I went to a massive comprehensive school in northwest London. There was a lot of Mickey taking, but you didn't want to advertise. You're a young actor treading the boards in the West End, And I remember having a sort of short back and sides for this play I was doing in the West End. Deeply embarrassing, sort of bowl head haircut at school. Of course, now I don't. It's
quite quirky nowadays. To be fair,
do you know what? Everyone's got that.
Yeah, we've all got it now.
But I remember at the time in the early 80s, it wasn't really. So I think, but you know what? The other thing is, of course, if you start off doing drama, acting, or whatever, which I did from about the age of 11. That age, you're just a sponge. You take stuff on. It doesn't feel like it's just another hobby you're doing. But I loved it, and I did it to about the age of 18. I wasn't advertising it, but it was just kind of part of my life growing up. They were very, very proud. But as I say, I think they just thought eventually this lad is going to have to stop this nonsense.
We had. Do you know a rapper called Dizzy Rascal?
Yeah, I did.
So we had him in a couple of weeks ago, and he revealed to us that he took on a plastering course because he wanted to do stuff. He wanted to feel like he does stuff. And what are you like with DIY? You're very busy, so I'm assuming you don't get much time to do it. You got your tour, and we'll get onto that in a minute.
Yeah.
But your tour is it's everywhere. You're a very busy guy.
Yeah.
When you have to do a bit of DIY, can you back it?
I can tell you now, I am useless. And I'm not proud of that. I don't think it's a great thing. I think it's just left-sided brain, right-sided brain, whatever it is. I'm absolutely hopeless at it, and I hate myself for being useless at it. It feels like it makes me less of a man.
No,
it does. It does. It's a really pathetic thing. I mean, the only thing I did do once, I had what do you call that stuff? I mean, I did it in my toilet in Crouch End.
Yeah.
And it's that tongue and groove stuff, and it sort of comes round. It's like this in the studio.
Is it paneling?
Paneling. It's like that paneling with a nice architrave thing around it at the top. And I did that myself, but I don't know why I was so determined to do it. And I think it's just a question of tapping it in with little tacks and then adding this thing. And I had a bit of wood filler that I did. That is my proudest moment. It was there. I painted it a beautiful colour. I had the nice wood stain around the top. That's the only thing I've really done. I used to do a lot of my own painting. My dad was never good at DIY, but the one thing he was taught was, lining walls, wallpapering and painting. So I've done quite a lot of P&D, but that's only painting. In terms of actually
we can't say that. Our painters will go.
Sorry, painters. Sorry.
Painters are not trades.
I'm sorry. I can do that.
That was Barry talking. Clinton was talking.
I can do that. Can't get up the ladder nowadays. But yeah, I do that. But I'm not good with my hands in that way.
I've got an idea. I'm not sure if you've done this. Now, I'm not going to say I've done this for a shout out on some other radio stations I might have been on over the years, but have you ever kind of not negotiated some work with some of your characters, maybe like you say you do cameos, you say you do all of these videos. Have you ever like kind of use Clinton to your advantage or Barry from your advantage? Maybe you've got a workman in and it's like, oh, that's going to cost you 400. Oh, I'm not going to do the voice. Or is it, darling? Or is it? Oh, it's 350 now because you're going to give me a reading. Have you ever used that to your advantage? Because I feel like there's some tradies, like the ball builders, they would crumble at that. If they gave you a quote for 500 and you give them a reading as Clinton, 250.
That's a really good idea. I've never thought of that.
Mate.
The only thing I used to do, this guy Mickey, the roofer, I used to mention him a lot on Steve Wright. I used to do Steve Wright's show on Radio 2. So I was often mentioning Mickey. It didn't do me any good. He still charged me the full whack. But I don't know. That would be really, God, what an assumption. It's 500 quid. Do you want to hear a bit of Clinton Baptiste?
I'm getting the word discount.
Get the word rip off.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't do that. That would be embarrassing.
To be fair, times are tough.
That would be terrible.
So, tour. We have to talk about the tour. You know, you've got Clinton Baptiste on tour. What's tour life like as a character? Like, is it as soon as you walk onto stage, you're Clinton, or do you do like a method type of acting that you're in the dressing room? Tell me, because look, I love Clinton as a character. I think it just gives me memories of obviously watching Phoenix Nights with my granddad, and I'd love to see you on tour. Not that I'm fishing for tickets, but you can have them. Thank you. What is tour life like as Clinton?
Okay, well, in terms of that sort of getting into character thing, I don't really do that.
You don't?
I walk on. I will say this, I don't really believe in any of the supernatural stuff, but I do have a little prayer to my dad and, particularly his side of the family who are kind of into all this stuff. But all of my relatives and say, look, can you just genuinely stay with me for this? Because, you go into a room, we're about to play the London Palladium on this next tour. There's 2,200 and something seats. I will be very nervous. I'll be feeling sick, So it is nice to think there's someone. It's a very lonely walk to that microphone.
Yeah.
So I think that I don't really prepare in that way. I think the day I have to prepare is the day I give up because I'm always so excited to get on the stage. And thankfully, it always comes to me. I mean, there is a terror. I've forgotten lines before. I mean, that is my terror as I get older. Have a complete whitey and you go, what's the next bit? What's the next bit? And that sort of horrible, prickly feeling. And there's the odd cough from the auditorium. And I remember I've had this before when you just see the lights glinting off someone's glasses or whatever. And you just think, oh, God, bead of sweat going down your back. But in terms of preparing, I don't really. I put on the wig and I've got my rings on and my earrings. But the wider thing about touring is that it is deeply, deeply unglamorous.
So like no like fancy restaurants, no
not
nights
really.
out?
Well, interesting you say that. I was eating a million Premier Inn breakfasts.
Oh, a lot of sausage.
A lot of sausage, a lot of stuff that's not good for you. Occasionally as a special treat, some of your listeners might know, those sort of Brazilian barbecues.
Yeah.
The green and the red. The green says, I want more meat. The red says not.
Yeah.
Never the red. Never the red. Always the green.
You're never coming back. You're out the friendship group.
And I did a little bit of that to keep myself sane and enjoy myself. There's me and my tour manager. And then doctor told me I had type 2 diabetes.
Oh, no.
So I've reversed all that. And
so you're on red now. You turned the red over.
I definitely, it's all red all the way now. But so I've done a lot about my diet. I'm just amazed that I was type 2 diabetic, but I've changed all that. I won't be doing any more of that. I don't have a drink after the show. You know what it's like in this country? Everything's shut anyway after the show.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. It's like, can everyone get out? That's it. And I'm where there were 2,000 people watching the show. Yeah. It's an empty auditorium. Yeah. I'm there, back in my jeans, clearing up the stage, jumping in the car and going to some hotel where everything else is shut up. So it's really boring. And then you sit in the room and have a cup of tea, eat the biscuits, phone my wife, go to sleep, drive off to the next gaff. It's really so the big thrill is getting on the stage and doing the show.
This is why you should have got in the trade, because you can go for a beer mid-shift, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right?
They don't do that.
No, of course they don't. Of course they don't.
But, it is, look, it's an absolute privilege to feel the excitement, go out, hear big gales of laughter.
From a tour perspective, now, what's great about all of your characters, whether it's Barry, Clinton, or potentially this new Mickey character, is that you can have the stage shows, you can have the TV and the on-screen stuff. What is the difference in how you approach these shows? Because look, I'm assuming TV, if it goes wrong, you do it again.
Yeah.
What happens when it goes wrong as Clinton or Barry? Like, do you have like an escape route? Do you have like, a go-to line to get out of a sticky situation?
I think I'm much more of an actor than I am a stand-up. So, I say
stand-up, I'm talking the shows. So.
I think, if something goes wrong, what happens is you've rehearsed the thing to death. So it's just like getting on a journey. We're at this landmark now, and then we got this bit, and then we turn here, and then we're going to do this bit. Oh, this is the bit where someone comes up on stage. So you just know it instinctively. So if a line doesn't land or you fluff a line, you can always move on to the next thing. But it is about, if you've had that whitey, which I've had as an actor a couple of times, where you're sort of watching yourself from up here.
What are you doing?
That is a terror. But I think if you've had that a couple of times, you know to expect that, and you know to relax. Just keep thinking, it's fine. The audience, this is one thing my dad taught me, doing this dance band stuff in a variety of working men's clubs. No one really knows. They don't know what you're going to do.
True.
They have no idea. Probably a bit like people in the trade. You start going on talking about skyhooks and tartan paints and all those old jokes. The customer goes, oh, yeah, all right.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Premium air.
Premium air. They don't know, do they? So it's, I think you can sort of bluff your way through it to a certain extent. If you dry totally, and that's partly the other reason for not drinking. If you're going on stage hungover and you're 3 seconds behind what you should be saying, and you're going, oh God, I don't know where I am, that is fatal. I've never really gone on hungover.
And before we let you go, I've got some quick fire questions related to the trades.
Yeah.
So first question I want to ask, what tradie, Alex, do you think will be most likely to heckle you in a gig, and why?
Apart from Mickey, now I've slagged him
Apart
off.
from Mickey. Mickey's not heckling, he's throwing a shoe at you or something. He's knocking you out. Other than Mickey.
I think the sort of people who work on cars and that sort of thing. I have often said that Clinton, if he was not doing the clairvoyant stuff, he's just a con man. He would be selling second-hand cars. Now, second-hand car salesmen are not tradies, but people who know their way around a car.
The gift of the gab.
The gift of the gab. They know what. I could be blinded by signs. Carburetors this. I don't even have the words at my fingertips. Engines that.
Cylinders.
Wheels the other.
Hybrid.
Hybrid. So I think those people are quite logical engineer types.
Yeah.
That is something that's quite alien to me.
Question number 2.
Yeah.
Barry from Watford is known for going off on a tangent.
Yeah.
What trade is most likely to chew your ear off?
I think someone who came to see my painting and decorating.
Really?
I think if they came to see it, and I said, well, don't worry about that. I've had to go at this one myself. They came into my living room and saw there's a bit by my fireplace where the paper joins, and it's so obvious.
Really?
Yeah, I think they would have something to say about that, because I've said I just do a bit of P&D. I think they would chew my ear off about my efforts.
I'm not going to lie. We're going to have so many painters and decorators in our comments.
All right.
Finally, question number 3. You predominantly work in the comedic space. Who's the funniest trader you think? Who would you like to watch on stage? What trade is the funniest in your opinion? Or who do you think can crack jokes?
Shall I tell you? I will tell you, scaffolders.
Really? Because we've had them as hardest as well. So
they are the
hardest
scaffolders. They are the nuttiest as well.
And funniest.
They are the maddest. But in terms of, the guy did my loft conversion a few years ago, and there were always seemed to be loads of scaffolders. I think he put the scaffolding up ridiculously early.
Yeah.
And then it came down again, then it went up again.
Yeah.
And they are just, they were kind of so, I don't know whether some of them, not all of them, pride themselves in being the hardest, toughest, scuzziest.
Yeah.
This is not all of you, but some of them do. And I think that irreverent comedy would be the funniest. The other thing I've heard about, and I'm sure everyone's spoken about this, is a famous thing, which is anyone working in anyone's house. I've heard this is going through the woman's knicker drawer.
No way.
Yeah, finding, we don't say marital aids. on this
I think that's the best thing you could probably say in this situation.
And leaving
marital aids
and leaving this stuff out on the side in a bedroom. I've heard of people, young lads, going, please, can you put that away? She's coming home in a minute. What's the matter? You know, and having people's knickers and stuff out there. I'm not bringing the trades into disrepute, but I've heard of that happening. I'd like someone to assure me that does or doesn't happen, but leaving embarrassing stuff out, and this woman's home from work shortly, and it's just sitting there in the room.
Do you know what? We've already done, Ricky, the character idea, another business idea. Fix marital aids, anyone? Let's do that. We've got bucket hats. Alex, where can we see you on tour? Please plug the tour. Please plug anything you want to do right now.
I'll be plugging a marital aid is what I'll be doing.
Don't say plug a marital aid at the same time.
Sorry. I will be on tour from February, or is it January, 2026.
Nice.
All over the country. I'm going to be at the London Palladium on the 26th of February. We've sold quite a lot of tickets already. I'm going to be at the Lowry Big Room, which is 2,500 people, sometime next year. Also Sheffield Memorial Hall, which is the big room again, which is 2,000 and something people. Please come and see it, because it will be very echoey on my own. And I'll look a bit stupid after this conversation if people don't turn up. But you can go to clintonbaptiste.com for tickets. And the show is called Spectral Intercourse.
Beautiful.
And
this is beautiful. I'm sold.
Yeah, so please come and see that. And then after that, I'm doing straight after Barry from Watford tour, a much smaller tour, and that's called Shooting from the New Hip. And that is going to be out after that.
Alex Lowe, thank you so much for coming on Fix
thanks,
Radio.
and sorry to any P&Ders.
Fix Radio.